And welcome everyone to another rousing edition of the Wanna-Bes podcast. It will be actually pretty rousing today. I am your host, Luke Walters, and to my right is...
I'm Morgan Holsworth. Welcome.
Did you bring the popcorn?
I had it last night.
Oh yeah, I don't want it. That's it. I'm done. I'm not gonna encourage you. So today is going to be hopefully a shorter episode. We're just going to go over a little something. Last night, Morgan had an adventure that I didn't go to because I didn't want to. Tell us about it.
So first things first, we as in Dan and two others, did a venture that you got for you guys so you didn't have to. Dan and I have been extremely safe in terms of what is going on in the current state of the pandemic. And one of the saddest things that has happened for us is being able to go to the movie theater. Now, movie theaters are currently open. It was a ritual that him and I would always do, partially for the podcast, partially for just, we love going to the movies. But so last night we found out that they were showing The Empire Strikes Back. And, you know, being the huge Star Wars fans that we are, we were really, really bummed that we've never been able to see it in theaters because it came out before we were born. So with that being said, we were like, well...
Because the movie old.
Yeah. We're like, do we really want to risk the theater? Because, like, we really want to see it. So we went ahead and purchased, like, the 9:15 showtime, which is the very last showing of it for the night, because we wanted to try to... We're hoping maybe... the late night showing, like the latest night showing, would be the safest to go.
And you didn't go to the big chain. You went to the local chain, right?
Yeah, we went to MJR. It's the one near me that's in Waterford. It's a small local chain here in Michigan. We've actually really preferred over places like AMC, just because it's typically a lot cleaner. COVID aside, it's typically way cleaner, and the prices are a little more efficient when it comes to concessions. So
yeah, you got a chance to catch something else besides COVID when you go to AMC, depending on which one.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that aside.
So we went. You know, I have the purse, obviously, hand sanitizer and hand masks on, and went and enjoyed a movie last night. So
what was that like?
It was really weird being back in the theater.
Was it half capacity?
It was like less than half.
I mean, but like, is that their guideline? Is that what they're going for? Because I assume...
I'm assuming it's half capacity to an extent. I think it's actually probably less than half. I don't know the specific guideline. I wasn't able to get all the information while I was there. Yeah. But
because I mean, realistically, is there gonna be a packed house to see The Empire Strikes Back?
No, that's how we also felt. It's like, okay, it's The Empire Strikes Back. It's been out for like how many years?
Yeah. Well, I could see it happening because I know like I think Jurassic Park is, when that happens from time to time, like that'll have some numbers, but like there's got to be like some fanfare.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I think with COVID,
yeah.
So to be honest with you, from besides us who were in the theater, there's maybe 6 others, so there was like a total of like 8 of us in there. Yeah.
Without it being an anniversary and without there being a whole lot of marketing and pop and circumstance for it, I can't imagine that too many people went.
Yeah.
On a random ass Saturday to go see.
That's why we felt kind of more comfortable and willing to kind of go and see the show.
Okay.
So while we were there, we went up. It's there. The plexiglass is up everywhere. So where you go to get your tickets, where you go to the concessions. Tickets was only $5 to go see the show. I don't know if that's typical or if that's just like what they're doing right now because of COVID. Try to draw people
that sounds like a COVID thing.
Yeah, that's what I would assume.
Which is good.
Yeah, MJR does like in the mornings the $5 matinees anyway.
Right.
But anyway, we got our tickets and looking at the screens. You get to choose where they are. They have the nice loungers and whatnot. They they basically have it where if you look at the screen to choose where you want to sit, they had like 2 chairs that you could choose because we bought 2 tickets. Then there was like 4 chairs that you couldn't sit in, 2, 4, and then 2. So basically because we were in one of the smaller theaters, so there's only like 6 people allowed in a row with a lot of space in between. They did say like if there was family with you, because it'd be like, let's say you had 4 tickets, you'd have to choose those separated seats.
Yeah.
But you would be allowed to move to be together as long as you're keeping a polite distance from anyone else who may be in the row. So that was really nice.
So there's an honor system there.
Correct.
Okay.
And they do check to make sure that, you're not impeding into anyone's space. So, they just kind of give a look and they can tell if you're together or not,
right.
if you're chatting.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So we went and got our popcorn.
Mm.
And while we're there, it's very much like they have the concession line set up where literally there's a sign that says enter, I think it was the left, exit on the right side. So they made it where there's like this flow going on, if you will, where there wasn't anyone ever super close to one another. They've pre-filled their popcorn bags forever.
Yeah.
But sadly, it makes sense because it's COVID. But I love to doctor the popcorn. So they do it for yourself, which is really nice. They have like a squeeze bottle, and they basically stand in front of you and say, just tell me when you want it to be done.
Okay.
But they don't shake it. I'm like, I just want to shake my popcorn, get it down to the bottom. That did not happen last night.
You're one of those. All right.
Yeah, I am.
I gotcha.
And if they had like the little cups, I would take a little cup of butter in with me to fix it. They didn't have the popcorn seasoning though. No popcorn seasoning, just salt.
What forever shall you do?
I couldn't get my Parmesan garlic seasoning, guys.
Killing me. All right.
So then we went down to where the actual auditorium is.
Uh-huh.
And they actually have rope closing off the door. So they were inside deep cleaning. And they don't let, and then they came once they were done and said, it is now, you guys can now go ahead and sit. If you are in a group of bigger than like the tickets you purchased and you want to move together, you're welcome to right before the show starts. If there is any issues, just let one of us know and we'll come and take care of it for you and help you out. So they were like already verbally like, if someone gets too close to you, let us know and we will come help you take care of it. And, everyone was wearing masks. I have a huge pet peeve when I'm at like the grocery store with the mask right under the nose. Everyone was properly wearing their masks, which was super nice. The person, first I forgot to mention at box office, normally they get your tickets and then you go to the usher that rips the tickets. They rip the tickets for you right at box office and made it where you can only go in one way. Yeah. And then the exit is actually a separate way now than before. So that way it helps minimize contact and also traffic. But yeah, we got in there. Everything looked really clean. I still sanitized after sitting and getting comfortable because I touched the chair. And then I ate my popcorn. They limit you to 1 popcorn refill right now. And when you go, you throw away your bag, they give you a new one. That sort of thing. But that was the experience. It actually was, like, Dan and I were like the entire time, we're like, it feels so weird to be here. Like, we didn't think we'd be there this soon yet. But we're like, we left and we're like, yeah, I was surprisingly happy with how at least MJR was handling their movie theater experience during this pandemic.
What movies were they showing?
If
you can recall, like, just a couple.
Empire Strikes Back.
Oh.
I'm trying. Hold on. I have the phone app.
Oh, no. Cannot compute. But it was overall a good experience for you then?
Yeah, actually, I was really impressed. Because Dan and I also went, if we go there and if they're not doing guidelines that we feel comfortable with, we'll just leave. It's only $5.
Yeah.
Take our popcorn.
Yeah.
So they're showing, like, for today, they're showing Two Hearts, Honest Thief, The War with Grandpa. That does look kind of cute, not gonna lie. Infidel, The Broken Hearts Gallery, Tenet, The New Mutants, Unhinged, The Nightmare Before Christmas, and Hocus Pocus. And then yesterday was their last day for The Empire Strikes Back.
So, how you gonna grade at least MJR's handling?
At least MJR, honestly, with how comfortable I was, I would probably rate it at, like, all in all, the experience, the comfortableness, just everything in general, was probably a 9 out of 10. The only reason it's not a 10 out of a 10 is because when we were waiting to go in a movie theater, they didn't have like an area for you to line up outside of the theater. So you're just kind of like trying to stand anywhere you feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a theater that we were standing that was like right across the hall that let out. There wasn't a whole lot of people in there either. I think maybe 6 people I saw come out.
Yeah.
But a couple of them, of the patrons, just got really close and didn't care. But that's going to happen anywhere. That happens at the grocery store.
Yeah.
But that's not the theater's fault by any means.
Right. Okay.
Maybe if they had like a lineup system set up outside the theater, that could have been avoided. But the public will do what the public wants to do.
Yeah, I think something like that will come if business picks up.
It wasn't busy in there at all. There was like a little mini rush, but that mini rush consisted of maybe 10 people, like I said, and there were usually groups of 2 or 3.
Yeah, there's nothing out.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like we wouldn't have gone if The Empire Strikes Back was not in there.
Right. So would you recommend the movie theater experience right now?
If you're comfortable with going, yeah. Obviously, if you want to know more, contact the theater and ask them what are their guidelines, what are they doing to help protect their patrons.
Yeah.
Learn those details.
Yeah.
But for what we experienced last night in the latest show possible, I would suggest it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny hearing your experience because like the level of care that's being put into to the cleaning and making sure that everything's good to go for people. Like it's funny that it took a pandemic to do this, and like here's the thing: if you can remember when you used to go to the theater, back when we weren't in a pandemic, people would get upset over cleanliness and like timely stuff. It's like, well, we're really fucking busy. It's just it's realistically not a thing that we can do. So
I do going off of that, like they looking at like showtimes.
Yeah,
they're very spaced out,
right? Yeah.
To give time for like things to breathe and like get off the surface, and also they go and disinfect and take their time to wipe down every individual seat. And when we used to work at the theater, we had maybe anywhere to 3 to 10 minutes. That's it. And sometimes not even that much.
It was like if you were in there for over 5 minutes, you're behind.
Yeah.
If you're cleaning your theater, it takes you longer than 5 minutes to clean.
5 to 10 minutes is more like the really slow weekday nights.
Yeah.
But
seriously, if it takes you longer than that, you're behind. And probably by a couple cleans. So move your ass. It's just funny that like the level of care that everybody was bitching about before the pandemic, like it took a pandemic to get it. And then like if business picks back up, like don't get used to it because that means more people are going to go and it's less time for those workers to do shit.
Yeah,
so
once theaters can book full like show times, they're going to because they're losing so much money right now.
Let's get into that real quick for a minute because AMC in particular right now to try and drum up business is allowing you to rent out their theaters for $100, where normally it's like $3 something. But then they add it up, or like if you want different amenities, if you want a microphone and stuff, like it'll get up to be that high, but just to rent out the theater for whatever kind of film you want, and it also depends on the film. It's $100, which isn't too bad.
It's actually better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, well, it's just it's funny just to think of the stuff that they have to do.
Do they limit the group though? Like the group size that's allowed in that theater?
I think it depends on the auditorium.
Which makes sense.
Film, yada yada. But starting out at like $100, not bad.
No, especially if you, let's say if you have 10 friends, they limit you to 10 people.
Yeah. That's
$10 a person to play that film.
I have zero interest in going to the theater. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I have zero interest. Even if something does come out, like we're talking something really big has to come out for me to think about it.
Sure.
I thought I would go see New Mutants, but I didn't.
New Mutants also, like, I mean, the theaters have been open. When did New Mutants come out? It came out back when...
August.
Yeah, it came out in August, so they've been open for like 2 months now.
Yeah.
2 and almost 3.
Yeah.
So
they're slowly building back up. I know the one that we used to work at in particular, like that just opened up at the beginning of the month. Yeah. So they're slowly moving along. But I mean, there's just like now that I've been sitting at home and shit, like I have no interest. I have zero interest. And like you said, it was something that we would do damn near every weekend. But just,
or at least every other, like Dan and I, all the time. Dan, he gets out of work at 7, and sometimes like there's like 8:30 showing, and like the movie theater is our typical date night.
Right.
If it wasn't going to Round 1 to play pool, it was going to the movie theater. And there's no way I'm going to play pool at a public place anytime soon.
I mean, I'll do it, but that's something that I actually want to do, not go to the fucking theater anymore.
Once our clubhouse opens up for our condo, we have a pool table there that no one uses except for Dan and I.
So another interesting fact is that the weekend box office race lately has been between Empire Strikes Back and Hocus Pocus. And as of the 12th, Hocus Pocus took the number one spot.
That's
the other thing that's making me not want to go as well, is that it's all old movies that they're just trying to get you back in for.
Sure.
And
Hocus Pocus, and I said Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
That makes sense just because it's Halloween time.
See, that's the thing. When we were working there and they would do stuff like this as a special event, there was a lot of marketing, a lot of stuff. Now you can tell, to me anyway, it just reeks of desperation.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to fall for it, because I can watch all these films on my app.
Sure.
From the comfort of my home.
I could have watched Empire Strikes Back at home.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is we wanted to, because Star Wars for me has been a huge, and I know many other people who have, my brother and I is a huge, my brother's constantly spoke about Star Wars when I was growing up, and I watched all of it with him. It was our thing. We would play until 2, 3 in the morning, if not later, on the weekends. The original Star Wars Battlefront games. Star Wars is just a big thing, along with Star Trek. Those were 2 huge things in my household.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to go and see one of the original trilogies movies, we're I don't want to miss it. Let's go do it.
I mean, I get it. I just don't have that much of a love affair.
Which is fair.
Just take the Dragon Ball movies, for instance, that have been in theaters. If those came back out, I still don't think I would go see them again.
What if they were brand new?
Brand new, yes, but if they were the ones that have already been in theaters, and here's the 10th anniversary of Battle of Gods or some shit. Here you go, it's in the theaters. Go watch it. Be I'm at home. I'm good.
I will say, seeing specifically the Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
It was really interesting seeing it on the big screen. You got to see how some of the graphics still actually relatively hold up pretty darn well, and then others, you can always notice the biggest one is on the battle, on Hoth, the Tauntaun, the thing they ride in the snow. We all know that was mainly done on the clay and the action figure stuff they would do on the table. You can notice it on the screens at home, but seeing it on that big of a screen, you could really tell. Which you're kind of but at the same time, you're that is dedication and craftsmanship right there. Back in that day.
That's also the other thing is the more that they convert older films into 4K and whatever else comes next, it's a lot easier to spot wires and shit. It looks extra fake. Whereas if they were to tell me, here's Empire Strikes Back in theaters in its original printing, that might give me a cool option. That might do it.
That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But remember, so many of them that was done on film.
Yeah.
And movie theaters, it's all digital now. They don't have the old film reels.
It worked. I mean, this is another conversation, but it worked for Hateful Eight because they brought in the special projectors for that.
Well, I'm saying they would have to pay to bring in projectors for it.
Yeah.
And with the pandemic going,
it's not something they're going to do now because everybody's losing money apparently, which good because that's your fault. That's just bad business practices. But that's another video again. So yeah, you enjoyed your experience, had a good time?
Yeah, we enjoyed our experience. We were loved. I hope that it doesn't have to be during the pandemic by any means. We hope hopefully things firstly get back to normal in the best way possible soon. But obviously we will take our measures to stay safe.
Right.
But we enjoyed our visit. We enjoyed our time at the theater, and we really enjoyed the practices and the guidelines that the specific theater we went to had put in place to keep their audience safe.
Okay, cool. So, and you do recommend it if you feel like it's worth it.
If it's worth it to you, go ahead and do it. I personally would suggest going to either a super early morning or a super late night showing because I feel like that's where the less foot traffic is.
Yeah.
That's why we went to the 9:15, the closing of the theater show. So because we felt like it'd be more safe and less people.
Yeah.
But if you feel comfortable, go ahead and do it. If you're high risk, anything, maybe not. if you protect yourself, you know what is safe for you, but at the same time, make sure you are following the theater's guidelines and the state guidelines and everything to keep you safe.
And this has been Morgan's health update.
Hey.
All right, cool. That's all I got. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Send us home, Morgan.
All right. Once again, as usual, thank you for watching, everyone. Make sure to follow and like us, subscribe on YouTube. It really helps out. It lets us get feedback, making sure that you like what we're putting out. Always leave a comment if there's something you want us to review. We will make sure we get to it for you. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Wanna-Bes Podcast or by Podcast Wanna-Be.
Cool.
And you can find myself at Morgan H. Films on Twitter and Instagram. How about you?
Luke W306 on Twitter and Instagram if you feel like, giving it a look.
Awesome. Well, we'll catch you guys in the next one. If you can't wait until the next one, you can sometimes find the two of us on Twitch streaming. All right. Don't forget the popcorn. See y'all in the next one. I love to make you suffer.